I agonized how to start this evening, so I'm going to start with a dedication. For my sons, Ross, Nelson, Matthew, Milne, and Gary, Dean, David Milne, who sacrificed more than anyone could ever have imagined prior to my volunteering to serve in Desert Storm. You are my miracles and my inspiration. I love you. The book is Sleeping Between Explosions. David, whom you just met and saw, is my publisher for Junk Plot Press. He has many books for sale. Support your local poets, buy a book. I'm going to start with a poem that isn't in that book. And the book kind of chronicles a good part of my biography. And this poem kind of tells you how I got to Texas. Bad luck blessings. My dear Lord, where have you gone? This road is so rocky that I'm traveling on. Don't you see, God, or don't you care that my kids are hungry and need new shoes to wear? I finally found a job and rented us a place. It was really a basement, but it was our space. The doctor taught me how to heal, and I was so eager to help return those who ailed to health. Gratification was my prize of wealth. But I truly lived from week to the next week. Rent was due, so I went for the landlady to see. I couldn't find her, so I slid the check through the door. I looked, and I could see it lying on the foyer floor. A few days later, we were putting things away from the night when came a loud banging on the door that gave me quite a fright. There stood the county sheriff in all his glory. He had a notice of eviction and refused to hear my side of the story. He and his deputies our belongings did unload, after which he unceremoniously told us to hit the road. I thought and agonized over what to do. The landlady had all my money, which is absolutely true. We put our stuff in the bed of my 64.5 Chevy pickup truck. We slept the kids in the cab and me in the bed due to our bad luck. So the next day I called the bank and stopped payment on that check. That lying landlady had already evicted us, so what the heck. I grabbed a stack of those free papers containing ads, hoping to find a new home for me and my lads. I scoured through each of those papers to no avail. I had children to house and feed, I must not fail. I was getting desperate to find my family an adequate abode. I couldn't keep my boys in a pickup truck on the side of the road. Finally, an ad that held a solution caught my eye. It was an ad for one of those pop-up trailers I did spy. So with nearly my last dime, I purchased that tent. When summer winds blew hard, the canvas they did rent into long, mocking, dancing tatters. I was dejected, feeling as if nothing really matters. So on to one of my friend's front yard, we then retreated. I felt like a failure who had been completely defeated. I was glad the young man's father let us park in his yard. I was hoping life would quit being so unbearably hard. But once again, this was not to be the case. My son overdosed on acid and tried to rip flowers from my face. What could I do to get us all back on the right track? I simply gave up, and our few belongings I began to pack and place into that faithful old Chevy truck, pondering all the while, how could anyone have such bad luck? From California to Arizona, we then did proceed to start out all over again, out of the very real need to have a home that was safe for my children. I simply pulled myself up by my bootstraps to begin a new job in another new, unfamiliar town. I was tired from 16 hours of work and feeling quite down. As I awoke the boys, gave them breakfast, sent them off to school, I was watching the morning news when I began to feel like a fool. As the reporter began to describe the awful disaster scene, I fell to my knees. "Thank you, God," I began to scream. Without all that bad luck, I simply would have been dead. But we had a new home. I had a new job instead. I finally got it, God. It was a bad luck blessing that you had given me that had kept me guessing. So the next time bad luck comes your way, ponder what it is that God is saving you from today. Well, I had one more of those blessings in store, and that led me to my children's godparents' front door in San Antonio, Texas. But then I needed another new job because I was in another new town. And in my infinite wisdom, I raised my hand and said I did again and rejoined the military to serve in Desert Storm. Hence, some of the stories in this book.